Cristiano Ronaldo's day had started like any other. The morning sun filtered through the sheer curtains of his mansion in Portugal, casting a golden glow over the pristine living room adorned with trophies and mementos of his illustrious career. Yet, even amidst this grandeur, something was missing, a sense of connection to the people who had supported him throughout his journey. On this particular morning, Ronaldo decided to head to a community center he had heard about. Known for his philanthropic endeavors, he wanted to see firsthand how he could make a difference in the lives of people struggling to make ends meet. The center, nestled in the heart of Lisbon, was abuzz with activity. Children laughing, volunteers organizing supplies, and the chatter of hope that filled the air despite the difficulties. As Ronaldo stepped out of his car, the atmosphere shifted. A ripple of recognition spread through the crowd. Some gasped, others whispered, but most simply stared in awe. Despite his global fame, Ronaldo remained humble. He smiled warmly, waved at the crowd, and walked toward the entrance. Inside, a young woman named Sofia stood in the corner, clutching a worn notebook close to her chest. Life had not been kind to her. A single mother in her late 20s, Sofia had lost her job recently and was struggling to provide for her 5-year-old daughter, Clara. She had come to the center in search of help, but her heart sank as she noticed the crowd surrounding Ronaldo. She felt invisible among the throng of fans clamoring for a moment with the football star. Sofia had never imagined meeting someone like Cristiano Ronaldo. She admired his career, his dedication, and his generosity from afar. But she felt her struggles were too insignificant to capture his attention. Little did she know, fate had other plans. Ronaldo moved through the center, shaking hands, signing autographs, and taking selfies with fans. Yet, his sharp eyes caught sight of Sofia standing quietly in the corner, her hesitant smile a stark contrast to the exuberance around her. Intrigued, he walked toward her, the crowd parting like the sea to let him through. "Hi," Ronaldo said, his voice warm and genuine. "What's your name?" Sofia looked up, startled. She hadn't expected him to notice her, let alone approach her. I'm Sofia," she stammered, clutching her notebook tighter. Ronaldo smiled, his presence comforting rather than overwhelming. "It's nice to meet you, Sofia. That notebook looks important. May I ask what's in it?" Sofia hesitated for a moment before opening the notebook. Inside were sketches and designs for clothes, beautiful, intricate creations that showcased her talent. "I've always wanted to be a fashion designer," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. But life had other plans. Ronaldo listened intently, his expression serious yet encouraging. "Tell me more," he said. And so began an unexpected conversation that would change both their lives forever. Cristiano Ronaldo's gaze never wavered as Sofia hesitated, unsure if she should continue. In her world, people rarely cared about dreams overshadowed by harsh realities. Yet here was Cristiano Ronaldo, the global football icon, standing before her with genuine interest etched across his face. Taking a deep breath, she began. "This notebook contains designs I've worked on for years. Fashion has always been my passion, but I had to give it up when my daughter was born. Life as a single mother isn't easy. I lost my job a few months ago, and now every day is a battle to put food on the table, let alone chase dreams." Her words spilled out like a dam breaking, her voice trembling as she revealed the vulnerability she had guarded so fiercely. Ronaldo, standing quietly, took in every word. He noticed the faint wear and tear on the edges of her notebook, the meticulous details in her sketches, and the slight quiver in her hand as she held it open. He admired her resilience. Here was a woman carrying the weight of the world on her shoulders, yet daring to dream in the face of adversity. Sofia continued, her eyes fixed on the floor. "Sometimes I think about giving up on this dream entirely. It feels pointless. Who would care about what I've created? I can't even afford the materials to bring these designs to life." Her voice cracked, and she quickly wiped away a tear that threatened to escape. "I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm telling you all this." She looked up, expecting to see pity or discomfort in Ronaldo's expression, but instead, she found understanding and encouragement. "You don't need to apologize," he said gently. "Your story is powerful. You've been fighting against the odds, and that takes strength." His words, simple yet profound, carried a weight that touched Sofia deeply. She had spent so long feeling invisible, Yet here was someone not only listening to her but validating her struggles. Ronaldo leaned slightly closer, lowering his voice so only she could hear. You know, I wasn't always where I am now. I came from humble beginnings too. There were times when I doubted myself, when I thought I'd never make it. But I had people who believed in me, and I learned to believe in myself. If you have talent and determination, you can achieve more than you think. He paused, letting his words sink in before continuing. The designs in your notebook, they're more than just drawings. They're a piece of you, your vision, your creativity. Don't let fear or circumstances make you abandon that. For a moment, Sophia was speechless. No one had ever spoken to her like this before, especially not someone like Cristiano Ronaldo. She felt a flicker of hope reignite within her, a feeling she had long buried under the weight of her daily struggles. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "That means more to me than you can imagine." Ronaldo smiled, his trademark warmth lighting up the room. "I'm not just here to talk, Sophia. I want to help. Let's figure out how to make your dream a reality." The crowd around them had quieted, curious about the private conversation between their idol and the unassuming woman in the corner. Ronaldo's assistant approached, gently reminding him of his packed schedule. But Ronaldo held up a hand, signaling that this moment was more important. Turning back to Sophia, he asked, "What would it take to turn one of your designs into a finished product?" Sophia blinked, caught off guard by the question. I'd need materials, equipment, and maybe a workspace," she said hesitantly, as though afraid to voice her needs. Ronaldo nodded thoughtfully. "Do you have a favorite design in your notebook? Something you'd want to see come to life first?" Sophia flipped through the pages, finally settling on a sketch of an elegant evening gown. "This one," she said, her voice steady for the first time. "It's always been my favorite." Ronaldo studied the sketch, impressed by the intricacy and thoughtfulness of the design. "It's beautiful," he said simply. "I want to fund this project. Whatever you need to bring this to life, consider it done." Sophia's eyes widened in disbelief. You're serious?" she stammered. Ronaldo smiled. "Completely serious. You have talent, Sophia, and the world deserves to see it. Let's make this happen." Tears streamed down Sophia's face as she struggled to find the words to express her gratitude. For the first time in years, she felt seen, valued, and supported. Ronaldo reached out, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "You're not alone in this anymore," he said. "We'll work together to make your dream a reality." And with those words, a partnership was born. One that would transform both their lives in ways they could never have imagined. Sophia could barely believe what was happening. The man she had admired from a distance, whose posters hung on the walls of countless fans, was now standing in front of her, offering not just words of encouragement but tangible support for her dream. As the realization sank in, a mixture of emotions overwhelmed her. Gratitude, disbelief, and a glimmer of hope she hadn't felt in years. She looked at Ronaldo, her voice trembling as she said, "I don't know how to thank you. No one has ever done anything like this for me before." Ronaldo's expression softened, his sincerity unmistakable. "You don't need to thank me, Sophia. This is about you and your talent. All I'm doing is giving you the chance you deserve. But I do have one request." Sophia tilted her head, curious. "What is it?" she asked. Ronaldo smiled. "When you achieve your dream, and I know you will, promise me you'll help someone else who needs a chance just like I'm helping you now." The simplicity and depth of his request struck Sophia deeply. She nodded, her voice steady despite the tears in her eyes. "I promise," she said. For the first time in a long while, she felt a sense of purpose rekindling inside her. It wasn't just about her dream anymore. It was about the opportunity to pay it forward and inspire others who felt trapped by their circumstances. Ronaldo's assistant, still standing a short distance away, approached cautiously. "Cristiano, we need to leave soon. You have another event in an hour, he reminded him. Ronaldo glanced at Sophia, then back at his assistant. Cancel it, he said firmly. This is more important. The assistant hesitated for a moment but nodded, recognizing the determination in Ronaldo's tone. Ronaldo turned back to Sophia. Let's start right now. Tell me everything you need. Materials, workspace, anything. Sophia hesitated, overwhelmed by the offer. She wasn't used to asking for help, let alone from someone like Ronaldo. But the sincerity in his eyes reassured her. Taking a deep breath, she began listing the essentials: fabric, sewing equipment, and a small studio where she could work without distractions. Ronaldo listened carefully, occasionally nodding as she spoke. When she finished, he said, "Consider it done. I'll have my team arrange everything today." Sophia blinked, struggling to process the enormity of his generosity. Today? She echoed. Ronaldo grinned. Why wait? Dreams don't have to wait. He pulled out his phone and began making calls, coordinating with his team to ensure Sophia would have everything she needed by the end of the day. Meanwhile, Sophia stood there, clutching her notebook tightly, feeling as though she had stepped into a dream. She watched in awe as Ronaldo's influence turned her long-held aspirations into a concrete plan. Within minutes, Ronaldo had arranged for a local studio space to be rented in Sophia's name, complete with the necessary equipment and materials. He handed her the address and said, "You'll find everything you need here. Start with your favorite design, the evening gown you showed me, and let's see where it takes you." Sophia's hands trembled as she took the slip of paper. "I don't know how to repay you," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Ronaldo shook his head. "You don't need to repay me, Sophia. Just believe in yourself and your talent. That's all I ask." As the day progressed, news of Ronaldo's act of kindness began to spread through the community center and beyond. People marveled at his humility and generosity, but for Sophia, it wasn't just about the material support he had provided. It was about the belief he had instilled in her, the belief that she was capable of achieving her dreams, no matter how impossible they had seemed. Later that evening, Sophia arrived at the studio Ronaldo had arranged. It was a modest space, but to her, it felt like a palace. The shelves were stocked with fabric in every color and texture imaginable, and a state-of-the-art sewing machine sat in the corner, gleaming under the soft glow of the overhead lights. For the first time in years, Sophia felt a sense of hope and possibility that was almost too overwhelming to contain. As she ran her fingers over the fabric, imagining the designs she would bring to life, she made a silent vow to herself. She would make the most of this opportunity, not just for her own sake, but for her daughter and everyone who believed in her. That night, she began sketching and planning, pouring her heart into her work. The hours flew by as she lost herself in the creative process, her mind buzzing with ideas and possibilities. By the time dawn broke, she had completed the initial patterns for the evening gown she had shown Ronaldo. It was the first tangible step toward her dream, and it filled her with a sense of accomplishment she hadn't felt in years. Unbeknownst to her, Ronaldo was keeping tabs on her progress. True to his word, he was committed to helping her every step of the way. He arranged for a renowned fashion mentor to visit her studio and provide guidance, ensuring she had not just the resources, but also the knowledge and support she needed to succeed. When Sophia met the mentor, a kind, experienced designer named Elena, she felt an immediate sense of relief. Elena was warm and encouraging, sharing tips and techniques that helped Sophia refine her craft. As the days turned into weeks, Sophia's confidence grew. The evening gown began to take shape, each stitch a testament to her dedication and talent. Weeks turned into months, and Sophia poured every ounce of energy into perfecting the evening gown she had sketched so many years ago. Each day, she worked tirelessly in the studio, her hands stitching and shaping the fabric with a precision born of passion and determination. The gown slowly came to life, its elegant lines and intricate details reflecting the vision that had once existed only in her mind. Under Elena's mentorship, Sophia's skills grew rapidly. Elena not only taught her advanced sewing techniques, but also guided her through the nuances of fabric selection, color coordination, and creating designs that balanced creativity with wearability. Ronaldo occasionally stopped by the studio, his visits always filled with encouragement and genuine interest in her progress. He often brought Clara, Sophia's daughter, small gifts, books, toys, or football merchandise, and spent time chatting with her, ensuring that the little girl felt included in her mother's journey. Sophia's heart swelled with gratitude each time she saw Clara laughing and playing, knowing that her daughter's life was also being transformed. As the gown neared completion, Sophia faced a new challenge: how to showcase her work to the world. Ronaldo had already considered this and arranged for her design to be featured at a high-profile charity gala in Lisbon. The event was attended by celebrities, philanthropists, and influential figures from various industries. It was the perfect platform to introduce Sophia's talent to the world. When Ronaldo shared the news with her, Sophia was stunned. "A gala? Cristiano, I'm not ready for something like that," she said, her voice tinged with panic. Ronaldo placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "You're more than ready, Sophia. Your work speaks for itself. This is your chance to show people what you're capable of. Trust me, you'll be amazing." Despite her nerves, Sophia knew she couldn't let fear hold her back. She had worked too hard and come too far to let self-doubt derail her progress. Over the next few weeks, she threw herself into preparing for the gala. She finalized the gown, worked with Elena to perfect every detail, and even practiced presenting her work in front of a mirror. Determined to overcome her stage fright, the night of the gala arrived, and Sophia stood backstage, her heart pounding as she held the gown in her hands. The venue was a grand ballroom, its chandeliers casting a soft golden glow over the elegantly dressed attendees. The sound of laughter and conversation filled the air, but Sophia could barely focus on anything other than the butterflies in her stomach. Ronaldo appeared by her side, dressed in a sharp tuxedo, his presence a calming force. "You're going to do great," he said with a smile. "Remember, this is your moment. Own it." Sophia nodded, taking a deep breath as she stepped onto the stage. The spotlight felt blinding at first, but as she began to speak, her nerves started to fade. She shared the story behind the gown, how it represented not just her dream, but also her journey of resilience and hope. When the gown was finally unveiled, there was an audible gasp from the audience. Its beauty was undeniable, a flowing silhouette adorned with delicate embroidery and shimmering accents that caught the light with every movement. It was a masterpiece, and the crowd responded with thunderous applause. After the presentation, Sophia mingled with the attendees, many of whom approached her with words of praise and admiration. Among them were influential designers and business leaders, several of whom expressed interest in collaborating with her or showcasing her work in their boutiques. Sophia could hardly believe what was happening. The support and recognition she had long yearned for were now within her grasp. Later that evening, Ronaldo found her standing near the edge of the ballroom, a glass of champagne in her hand, and tears glistening in her eyes. "You did it," he said, his voice filled with pride. Sophia turned to him, her smile radiant. "I couldn't have done any of this without you," she said. "Thank you for believing in me when I couldn't believe in myself." Ronaldo shook his head. "You always had it in you, Sophia. I just helped you see it." As the gala wound down, Sophia realized that her life had changed forever. The girl who once felt invisible now stood at the brink of a promising future, her dreams no longer confined to the pages of a worn notebook. She knew the journey ahead would still have its challenges, but she also knew she wasn't alone anymore. Ronaldo's unwavering support, Elena's mentorship, and Clara's love had given her the strength to keep moving forward. Over the following months, Sophia's career blossomed. Her designs gained widespread recognition, and her work was featured in prominent fashion shows and magazines. She established her own brand, using part of her earnings to support aspiring designers from underprivileged backgrounds, fulfilling the promise she had made to Ronaldo. Clara often accompanied her to events, proudly watching her mother shine. As for Ronaldo, he remained a constant presence in Sophia's life, cheering her on from the sidelines and reminding her of how far she had come. Their bond grew stronger with time, built on mutual respect and the shared understanding of what it meant to rise above adversity. Together, they proved that even the smallest acts of kindness could spark extraordinary change, transforming not just one life, but countless others along the way. The months that followed the gala were a whirlwind of activity for Sophia. Her phone rang constantly with calls from fashion houses, magazines, and influential figures wanting to feature her work. She was invited to showcase her designs at international fashion weeks, her brand quickly gaining recognition as one that celebrated elegance and authenticity. Sophia often found herself overwhelmed by the attention, but she never let it distract her from her roots. She remembered the long nights in her cramped apartment, sketching designs under a dim lamp while Clara slept beside her. Those memories kept her grounded, reminding her of the journey that had brought her to this point. One day, as she sat in her spacious studio, a stark contrast to the small rented space she had started in, Sophia received a call from Ronaldo. His voice, as warm and encouraging as ever, immediately lifted her spirits. "Sophia," he began, "I have a proposal for you." Intrigued, she leaned back in her chair. "What kind of proposal?" she asked. "It's a bit ambitious," he admitted, "but I think you'll love it. I've been working with several charitable organizations, and I want to create a program that helps aspiring designers from underprivileged backgrounds. We could provide them with resources, mentorship, and opportunities to showcase their work. And who better to lead this initiative than you?" Sophia's heart swelled at the idea. She had always dreamed of giving back, of helping others overcome the barriers that had once seemed insurmountable to her. "Cristiano, that's an incredible idea," she said, her voice brimming with excitement. "I'd be honored to be a part of it." Over the next few weeks, they worked tirelessly to bring the program to life. They named it Threads of Hope, a nod to the belief that fashion could be a powerful medium for change. With Ronaldo's influence and resources, and Sophia's expertise and personal story, the initiative quickly gained traction. Workshops were organized, scholarships were offered, and partnerships with established designers were secured. The program's first cohort included 10 young designers, each with a unique vision and story. Sophia took a hands-on approach, mentoring the participants and sharing her experiences. She encouraged them to embrace their individuality, reminding them that their struggles could become their greatest source of inspiration. Watching their confidence grow was one of the most rewarding experiences of her life. The participants, in turn, looked up to her as a role model, drawn not just to her success, but to her humility and resilience. Meanwhile, Sophia's personal life flourished as well. Clara, now a bright and curious young girl, often accompanied her to events and workshops. She had inherited her mother's creative spark, spending hours drawing and experimenting with fabrics in Sophia's studio. Ronaldo remained a close friend and mentor, his unwavering belief in Sophia continuing to inspire her. Their bond deepened over time, built on mutual respect and a shared commitment to making a difference. As Threads of Hope grew, it began to attract attention from the media. Journalists and photographers flocked to cover the program, highlighting the transformative impact it had on its participants. Sophia, once shy and hesitant, had grown into a confident public speaker, sharing her story with audiences around the world. She often credited Ronaldo for his role in her journey, describing him as the spark that lit the fire. Ronaldo, in turn, always deflected the praise back to her. "Sophia's success is her own," he would say in interviews. "I may have opened a door, but she's the one who walked through it and built something extraordinary." One day, as Sophia prepared for an event celebrating the program's success, Ronaldo surprised her with a visit to her studio. "I have something for you," he said, handing her a small, neatly wrapped package. Inside was a framed photo of her and Clara at the gala, their faces glowing with joy and pride. Below the photo, a simple inscription read, "Dreams don't have to wait." Sophia's eyes filled with tears as she looked at the gift. "Thank you," she said, her voice trembling with emotion. "For everything." Ronaldo smiled. You've done more than I ever could have imagined, Sophia. This is just the beginning. As the years passed, Sophia's name became synonymous with innovation and compassion in the fashion world. Threads of hope expanded to other countries, helping countless individuals turn their dreams into reality. Clara grew up watching her mother's journey, inspired by her resilience and generosity. She often told Sophia, "One day, I want to be just like you." Sophia would smile and reply, "You already are, my love." For Ronaldo, watching Sophia thrive was one of the greatest rewards of his life. Their friendship remained a source of strength for both of them, a reminder of the extraordinary power of kindness and belief. In the end, Sophia's story became a testament to the idea that even the smallest acts of kindness could create ripples that transformed lives. Ronaldo's decision to stop and listen to a single fan had set off a chain of events that changed not only Sophia's life, but also the lives of everyone she touched. And as she stood on a global stage, her designs celebrated by audiences around the world, Sophia knew that her journey was far from over. It was, as Ronaldo had said, just the beginning. Years later, Sophia stood at the pinnacle of her career, her name celebrated not just as a fashion designer but as a trailblazer in empowering those who were often overlooked. Her brand had grown into a global phenomenon, but it was her work through threads of hope that she cherished the most. She often reflected on how one fateful encounter with Ronaldo had changed the course of her life. His words and actions had planted a seed of hope in her heart, which had blossomed into something extraordinary. But despite her success, she remained deeply connected to her roots, never forgetting the struggles that had shaped her. One evening, as Sophia prepared for the launch of her newest collection, the voice on the other end was shaky but familiar. It was Maria, her childhood best friend whom she hadn't spoken to in years. Maria had heard about Sophia's success through the news but had hesitated to reach out, unsure if Sophia would even remember her. "Maria," Sophia said, her voice filled with warmth. "How could I ever forget you? You were there for me when no one else was." They caught up on each other's lives, and Maria shared that she was now a teacher working with underprivileged children. The conversation brought back memories of simpler times and reinforced Sophia's belief in the importance of lifting others as she climbed. After their call, Sophia felt inspired to give back in an even more meaningful way. She decided to expand Threads of Hope to include programs for young students, providing them with early exposure to creative fields like fashion, art, and design. She believed that nurturing talent at a young age could open doors that many didn't even know existed. When she shared this idea with Ronaldo, his eyes lit up. "That's brilliant," he said. "You're not just changing lives, you're shaping futures." Together, they worked to bring the expanded program to life, partnering with schools and community organizations around the world. The impact was immediate and profound. Children who had never held a paintbrush or sewing needle before discovered talents they didn't know they had. Sophia often visited these workshops, sitting with the children and sharing her story. She would tell them about her humble beginnings, about the day Ronaldo believed in her when she couldn't believe in herself, and how that moment had changed everything. The children listened with wide eyes, their imaginations sparked by the possibilities she represented. Clara, now a teenager, often accompanied her mother to these events. Watching Sophia interact with the children, Clara felt a deep sense of pride. She had always known her mother was special, but seeing the joy and hope Sophia brought to others made her realize the true depth of her impact. One day, as Sophia was leaving a workshop, a young girl approached her shyly. She couldn't have been more than 10 years old, and she clutched a small piece of fabric she had sewn into the shape of a flower. "This is for you," the girl said, holding out the fabric flower with trembling hands. "You made me believe I can do something big one day." Sophia knelt down, accepting the gift with tears in her eyes. "You can do anything you set your mind to," she said softly. "Never stop believing in yourself." Moments like these reminded Sophia of why she had started her journey in the first place. Meanwhile, Ronaldo continued to be a steadfast supporter of Sophia's endeavors. He often attended Threads of Hope events, using his platform to amplify its message. Despite his own fame and busy schedule, he remained humble, always prioritizing the impact he could have on others. His friendship with Sophia deepened over the years, built on mutual respect and a shared vision for making the world a better place. On the rare occasions when they had time to themselves, they would sit and reminisce about how far they had come. "You know," Ronaldo said one evening as they watched the sunset from Sophia's terrace, "when I met you that day, I had no idea the ripple effect it would create. But seeing everything you've accomplished, I can't help but feel grateful that our paths crossed." Sophia smiled, her eyes glistening with emotion. "You didn't just cross my path, Cristiano. You became the bridge that helped me cross into a new life. I'll never forget that." As they sat in comfortable silence, both of them knew that their story was a testament to the power of human connection. It was a reminder that even the smallest gestures of kindness could spark extraordinary transformations. Over the next decade, Sophia's influence continued to grow. Her designs graced runways around the world, but it was her work through Threads of Hope that defined her legacy. She was invited to speak at international conferences, sharing her insights on fashion, philanthropy, and the importance of believing in oneself. Clara, inspired by her mother's journey, decided to follow in her footsteps, but with her own unique twist. She pursued a degree in sustainable fashion, determined to create designs that were not only beautiful, but also environmentally conscious. Sophia couldn't have been prouder. Watching Clara blossom into a confident young woman filled her with a sense of fulfillment she hadn't thought possible. One evening, as Sophia prepared for yet another milestone event, a retrospective exhibition celebrating her career and the impact of Threads of Hope, she received a letter. It was from one of the program's first participants, a young man who had gone on to establish his own successful fashion brand. In the letter, he wrote, "You didn't just teach me how to sew or design, you taught me how to dream. Because of you, I've been able to change not only my life but the lives of my family and community. Thank you for showing me what's possible." Reading the letter, Sophia felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. She thought back to the moment when she had first met Ronaldo, to the notebook of sketches she had shown him, and to the promise she had made to help others in need. She realized that she had fulfilled that promise, and so much more. When the night of the exhibition arrived, the venue was filled with people whose lives Sophia had touched in some way. As she stood on stage, addressing the crowd, she spotted Ronaldo in the audience, his expression one of pride and quiet joy. "None of this would have been possible without the kindness of one man who saw potential in me when I couldn't see it myself," she said, her voice steady but full of emotion. "Cristiano, you taught me that dreams don't have to wait, and for that, I will always be grateful." The audience erupted into applause, but Ronaldo simply smiled, knowing that his small act of kindness had set something extraordinary into motion. Together, they had proven that when we believe in each other, we can create a world where dreams truly don't have to wait. As the applause echoed through the grand hall, Sophia stood on the stage, overwhelmed by the moment. This wasn't just her success, it was a collective triumph, a culmination of countless stories of perseverance, hope, and kindness. Her journey from an overlooked seamstress struggling to make ends meet to a globally celebrated designer and philanthropist was nothing short of extraordinary. And in this crowd of admirers, collaborators, and mentees, Sophia saw not just her own reflection, but the endless possibilities of what could happen when one person dares to dream and another person believes in that dream. After the event, Sophia and Ronaldo found a quiet corner in the venue. It had become a tradition for the two of them to step away from the limelight and share a moment of reflection during significant milestones. Ronaldo, still dressed in his sharp suit, handed Sophia a glass of champagne. "To you, Sophia," he said, raising his own glass. "To everything you've built, to everyone you've inspired, and to the countless lives you've changed." Sophia clinked her glass against his, a soft smile gracing her lips. "To us," she said. "To the moment we met and the journey that followed. I could never have done this without you, Cristiano. Ronaldo chuckled lightly, shaking his head. You always say that, but Sophia, this was always inside you. I just helped you realize it. Watching you grow and achieve everything you have, it's been one of the greatest joys of my life. His words carried the weight of genuine admiration, and Sophia felt her eyes well up. Their bond had grown beyond friendship. It was a partnership rooted in mutual respect, unshakable trust, and an enduring commitment to making the world a better place. As they talked, Sophia's daughter Clara joined them. Now a young adult, Clara had inherited not just her mother's creative talents, but also her empathetic heart. Are you two talking about changing the world again? She teased, a playful glint in her eyes. Sophia laughed, pulling Clara close. Always, she said, and soon it'll be your turn to take the reins. Clara nodded, her expression turning serious. I'll do my best to carry this forward, Mom. What you and Cristiano have done, it's incredible. I just hope I can make you both proud. Ronaldo placed a hand on Clara's shoulder. You already have, he said warmly. The night ended with Sophia standing on the terrace of her home, gazing at the city lights twinkling below. Ronaldo had stayed behind, knowing that these quiet moments were when Sophia truly processed her emotions. Do you ever think about how all of this started? She asked, her voice tinged with nostalgia. How a simple conversation on a rainy day changed everything. Ronaldo leaned against the railing, a thoughtful expression on his face. I do, he admitted. It reminds me that the smallest actions can have the biggest impact. If I hadn't stopped to talk to you that day, none of this would have happened. It's humbling, really. Sophia nodded, her gaze distant but peaceful. It's a reminder to always pay attention, to always extend kindness. You never know whose life you might be changing, maybe even your own. The words hung in the air between them, a quiet acknowledgement of the profound truth they had both lived in the years that followed. Threads of hope continued to grow, becoming a global movement that inspired countless others to take up the mantle of mentorship and philanthropy. Sophia eventually stepped back from her design work, choosing to dedicate herself fully to the program. She spent her days traveling to workshops, mentoring young talent, and speaking at events to raise awareness about the transformative power of belief and opportunity. Clara launched her own sustainable fashion line, blending her mother's creativity with her passion for environmental consciousness. She often collaborated with Threads of Hope, ensuring that its mission remained deeply intertwined with her work. Ronaldo, though still active in his own philanthropic endeavors, often visited Sophia and Clara, their bond as strong as ever. He watched with pride as their legacy continued to grow, knowing that he had played a small but significant role in setting it all in motion. As Sophia approached her later years, she found herself reflecting more and more on the journey that had brought her here. One afternoon, she sat down with Clara and Ronaldo to record her story. This isn't just my story, she said as Clara set up a camera. It's ours. It's about how one moment of kindness can change everything. And I want the world to remember that. They spent hours recounting every detail, the struggles, the triumphs, the laughter, and the tears. When they finished, Sophia leaned back with a satisfied sigh. I hope this inspires someone out there, she said softly. Ronaldo smiled. It will. It already has. Years later, when Sophia passed away peacefully, her life's work continued to thrive. Her name became synonymous with hope and resilience, her legacy immortalized in the lives of the countless individuals she had touched. Clara, now a leading voice in sustainable fashion and philanthropy, carried forward her mother's vision, often reminding people of Sophia's favorite saying, "Dreams don't have to wait." Ronaldo, though deeply saddened by Sophia's passing, found solace in knowing that her spirit lived on in every person she had inspired. On what would have been Sophia's 70th birthday, Clara and Ronaldo organized a special event to honor her memory. Held at the very venue where Sophia had first showcased her designs, the evening was a celebration of her life and legacy. As the crowd stood to applaud a video tribute, Ronaldo looked up at the screen, his heart swelling with pride and gratitude. She was right, he thought to himself. Kindness really can change the world. And in that moment, surrounded by the echoes of Sophia's incredible journey, he knew that her story would continue to inspire generations to come.